Hello, this is Jason Taylor. Welcome back to Speaking Truth to Power. I had mentioned recently in one of these episodes that I was going to go through some of the appellate court positions and candidates for the North Carolina appellate courts. And I think it's important to first understand what the appellate courts are, and quite frankly, what our courts are, right? They are a check and balance against the other two equal legislative government branches. There's a legislative branch, there's the executive branch. The legislative branch made up of the House and the Senate, the executive branch made up of the governor, and then the judicial branch, which has its trial court levels, the lower courts, things like district court and superior court, where litigants, citizens, businesses bring the disputes that they have, put on the evidence, and a judge and frequently a jury hears the evidence, applies the law as they understand it to be, and renders a verdict, right? Well, from there, those cases, either side who loses, if they believe that there was an inappropriate procedural problem or an inappropriate application of law to the facts, they can appeal it on particular grounds, right? And it goes up to the Court of Appeals. That's the appellate level, or the first appellate level of courts. And we have 15 Court of Appeals judges who sit in 3-judge panels to hear the various cases that get appealed up, okay? And they render decisions, and then given certain circumstances, those decisions can be appealed to the highest court in the land when it comes to state issues, and that's the North Carolina Supreme Court. And there, the whole bench, all of them sit together and render a decision. In other words, they're not in little groups. It's the whole Supreme Court panel. Okay, so that's how it works, and the elections are critical. Why? You say, what is that? I don't spend time in court. It's not going to apply to me. It does. And I will tell you, so NCAJ, North Carolina Advocates for Justice, is a lawyer group across the state, of which I've been a part of for many, many years. It's made up of over 2,000 North Carolina lawyers who do things like criminal defense, personal injury work, domestic, a variety of areas of practice. And they argue cases, we argue cases in front of these judges and justices all of the time. And we've come up with a list of folks that we support, and you might say, well, why should I support them? Well, let me do two things. Let me explain why the NCAJ, North Carolina Advocates for Judges, opinions might be relevant to you. And second, let me go through the candidates so you can kind of maybe understand a little bit more. The NCAJ, as I mentioned, it's all these lawyers, but these lawyers are lawyers who represent people. Okay, we represent injured people against insurance companies and corporations, and against the state and counties and cities, etc. We represent individuals who have been accused of a crime, right? We represent individuals in domestic matters and disputes. The whole organization is about people. It is representing people. It's protecting the rights of people. So your interests are our interests, right? You folks are people, citizens in North Carolina. You want your rights protected, and you damn sure want to make sure, if you're having a case in front of the justices, that you are getting the best, most fair shake, most intellectual look at the law and application of the law to the facts of your case, right? You don't want to be hamstrung inappropriately for all the wrong reasons. So that's why the NCAJ opinions should mean something to you, right? Because they're going to know these justices or judges, and they're going to be able, and they're on your side. So they're going to be able to give you information you might not otherwise have because you don't spend time in front of them, in front of these courts. Now, the Supreme Court seat number 1, and right now I'm going to go through the Supreme Court opinions. I'll do the appellate opinions at another time, but there are 3 positions that are up on the Supreme Court. And the first position, I always seem to lose my notes, but involves Justice Sherry Beasley and Justice Paul Newby. Both of them are currently on the Supreme Court. Sherry Beasley is the Chief Justice right now. These are both two smart people, right? Justice Beasley has served on the Court of Appeals from 2008 to 2012, and the Supreme Court since 2012. Justice Newby has served on the Supreme Court since 2004. Both of them are scholarly, bright people, and very courteous and thoughtful people, right? We support Justice Sherry Beasley, and I will do that with my last dying breath, okay? Here's why. Because both of these two look at the application of the law differently. And one of them, in my opinion, supports individuals and their rights in their application of law, and the other one supports more big business and government. So if I am having a case against a state, against the state of North Carolina, against a county, a city, if I'm fighting with Allstate or Nationwide, if I'm fighting with some big corporation and all those kinds of things, I think one of these justices is more apt to see things through my lens as the individual who's fighting for my rights than the corporate government lens. And that's Justice Beasley. I can't tell you over the last year, I haven't looked back at the research, maybe the last 2 years I haven't, but Justice Newby's been up there since 2004, and I can tell you for most of that time, my recollection of his opinions, and I would say that's true of the over 2,000 members of NCAJ, that if there's a divided court opinion on an issue for an individual accused of a crime or an individual bringing a case against a corporation or whatnot, he rules in favor of big government and big business every time. The person who's injured at work, and that case goes through the Industrial Commission and ends up at the Court of Appeals, generally loses, in my opinion, when it deals with Justice Newby. The criminal defendant who's applying and wants the law properly interpreted and the case is up on appeals loses in front of Justice Newby, in my opinion. The individual who's hit by the car insured by Allstate who's got something up on appeal at the Court of Appeals loses in front of Justice Newby, in my opinion. I don't think he applies the law fairly, right? And I think the individual, the citizen of North Carolina, loses with him, where Justice Beasley, who has also an incredibly smart grasp of the law and the facts, but I think sees it more through the eyes of a citizen instead of a government and corporation. So I will always, hands down, Justice Beasley with my last dying breath. Race number 2 involves Lucy Inman and Phil Berger. Lucy Inman has been on the Supreme Court since 2000. She has been a Superior Court judge from 2010 to 2014, Court of Appeals judge currently since 2015. Phil Berger, also a smart guy. He has served as an assistant DA. And he has been an administrative law judge and has been on the Court of Appeals since 2016. Two smart people. Go back to the same issue. I think Justice Inman represents people's views instead of corporate views, is less big government, less protecting the states and the corporations. And I say that simply from the opinions. I mean, the good news, you can do this. You go. They have opinions that they've written with their names on them. So you can do the research yourself. Go look at some of the cases that have been written by Justice Berger. Go look at some of the cases written by Justice Inman, and I think you'll find Justice Inman is more a protector of people's rights. Same thing with, you look at the ones done by Justice Newby and look at the ones done by Justice Beasley. Justice Beasley is more a protector of individual rights than Justice Newby. So this is an easy understanding for me. I want somebody who's protecting my rights and properly applying the law to the facts. The third race, which is actually seat number 4, so there's the first seat, the second seat, and the fourth seat that are up for election. You have Mark Davis, who has been on the Supreme Court since 2019 and was on the Court of Appeal since 2013, against Tamara Berenger. This one is easy. This is not very complicated. Mark Davis is one of the smartest justices I think we've ever had. He's intellectually on another level. The effort and energy that he puts into understanding the cases and writing thoughtful and careful opinions is beyond reproach. In my mind, Tamara Berenger was a state senator from 2012 until she lost her race in 2018. Apparently, during that time, she was in practice at her husband's law firm, the Berenger Law Firm, and now she's decided to run for the Supreme Court of North Carolina. In my opinion, has less than zero credentials to do so, and I can't think of anything more scarier than someone who's never really spent any time in our court system, who thinks, oh gosh, I lost my Senate race, so let me go run for something else, and runs for a Supreme Court position. It borders on the comical. So if you have any intellectual grasp of this whatsoever, you'll understand that that is the podiatrist who's going to do brain surgery on you. It's not what you want, particularly when there's a brain surgeon in the room, and that would be Justice Davis. So that's those three seats of the Supreme Court. That's what the Supreme Court's about, or our appellate courts are about. I hope this helps you. You don't have to take my word for it. You can Google or do whatever you need to do to research these justices and look at their opinions. Of course, you can't see any opinion from Tamara Berenger because she's never written one, but you can certainly see the other ones, and I think you'll find the same way I do, and support those who support you and understand citizens matter. Thank you.